Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on which part of the world you are. I'm here in Sydney, Australia. Welcome to the channel and I hope you guys are doing great. Atheists often claim that this world is a violent place because of religion. So today I'll try to analyze whether this is a sound argument or is this just another erroneous conclusions that atheists make without proper understanding of human psyche. Now, talking about psychology, I have to let you know that I don't have any degree in psychology. These are my understanding. And as such, I could be wrong. And if that is the case, let me know so that we can all learn something together. Now, the reason why atheists blame religion for the atrocities is because many atrocities, many episodes of unspeakable cruelty have been perpetrated, not just now, but in history. We have terrorism and religious persecution happening as I speak, was taking place in the name of religion. But if you look at history, we had the Crusades, we had Inquisitions, we had Islamic conquest, and of course, persecution of the infidel. And along the way, hundreds, thousands, millions, billions of people have been brutalized, massacred. And this is why the atheists say that because all of these things happened in the name of my religion, I would rather give up my faith and embrace humanity, which is a fair call. But I'd like to point out that this kind of thinking is seriously flawed. This is the purpose of this video. Now, let's put religion aside for a moment. Let's talk about needs. Why? Because needs are the causes for the actions people take. Let's say, for instance, I am thirsty. I need to drink some water. So I have a need, thirst. And to quench my thirst, I need to drink some water. I have to take some action. So action comes next, need comes first. Now, let's talk about what are the needs that we human beings have as a species, like in general. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, so if I'm missing out, let me know so that we can make a follow-up video. We can discuss further on this one. So what are the needs that people have? One of the most primitive needs that we all have is safety, survival needs, acceptance into the community, assurance. Now, we live, for instance, nowadays in tall buildings in modern society, but 100 years ago, 200 years ago, people used to live in the jungles. What is life like in the jungle? Is a life of fight or flight. You are surrounded by dangerous animals. You are surrounded by predators. You always have to be on your guards. You always have to be ready to kill a dangerous animal who is trying to prey on you. So if a society is governed by survival needs, regardless of what cultures, customs, beliefs exist in the society, we can all agree that it will not be a peaceful one. Let's say, for instance, there is a venomous snake right in front of me. What am I going to do? I can, of course, put the snake into a cage, which is a peaceful action. But how many of us can actually handle a deadly snake or even have the courage to handle a deadly snake? Well, surely I don't, and I don't think many people do either. So if there is a deadly snake, I will run as fast as I can to get me out of its way. Or if I cannot get out of its way, if I have to face the snake, then the end of the ordeal will be who can kill whom? Who can subdue whom? Because if the snake is alive and able, he will come and bite me. And if I get bitten, that may lead to my death. So I will try my best to eliminate this threat once and for all, which will not be a very peaceful action. It will lead to the death of the snake. Like I'm talking about 70 to 80% of the cases. in general. If this is what happens between me or someone else and a snake, this will probably be the most likely outcome, that someone of this ordeal is going to die. So we can all agree that if a society is governed by these kind of survival needs, that society will not be peaceful, regardless of its cultures or customs or beliefs. What are the other needs that we have? Freedom, ego, control. We love power, sense of mastery over others. And in its worst manifestation, it can be even sadism. And that is what we have witnessed in history. When there is a tyrant, people rebel against the tyrant. And along the rebellion, many innocent life gets lost. If I put you in chains, you will of course try to break free from the misery of the chains, and in your trial, you will probably kill many innocent lives. Case in point, the family of the tyrant, who got nothing to do with the atrocities committed by the tyrant, but nonetheless, they also get murdered, they also get eliminated. So if a society is governed by lack of freedom, again, we can conclude, we can assume that it will not be a very peaceful society. And then we have a sense of our own roots. We are the creature of habit. We have our own beliefs and customs. If an invading culture comes to take over our society, of course we will rebel against such invasion. And during this rebellion, we will uphold our own cultural identity. Tribalism, in other words, desire to win. If an invading culture comes to take over us, we'll have the desire to win over that invading culture, to carry on our own identity. We'll cling to our own roots. And finally, we have our need for experience. We love to experience different things in life. So these are some of the broader needs that we all have in common. We love our freedom. Every one of us would love to survive. We would love to practice our own cultures. And of course, we would love to experience different types of things in life. And if any of these needs are not being met or being suppressed, then we can assume that there will be an uproar in the society sooner or later, and as a consequence, it will not be a very peaceful outcome. This society will not be a very peaceful one. So regardless of cultures, customs, practices, regardless of any kind of ideology, our needs are our priority. This is what we can all agree. But the problem is, if a certain group of people within our community try to manipulate these needs, try to manipulate the needs that we all have, what they can do to the society. We also have to understand that people are infinitely gullible. Nowadays we have modern technology, but how many of us do even bother to study human psychology? Not many of us, for sure. So even with modern technology, even with all the things to learn new things, there are a lot of people in our society who are gullible, who don't know much about life, who don't know much about different aspects of life. So if some con man comes along, prey on these vulnerable people, manipulate their needs, take advantage of their gullibility, what they can do to the society. I think this is what atheists are missing. Now, to put things into context, let's take a robber, for example. He is unemployable. He has no skills. He has no other means to survive. That's why he robs. He robs other people's wealth, and out of that loot, he survives. Now, compare this to the people who went on to conquest, riding on a horse with a sword or a gun. Fundamentally, in its core, they are both identical. They are robbing other people's wealth. But one is doing for a good cause, for the sake of their religion, for the sake of their God. They have a purpose. And that wretched guy, that typical robber, he is doing it for his survival. They are both identical in its foundation. They are robbing others people's wealth. Both of these are wrong. But the people who are conquering other cultures, who are going on a conquest, a murderous rampage, they are doing it for a good cause because they have been indoctrinated. They have been brainwashed into believing that this is good. And who brainwashed them? A certain percentage of our community. So when atheists are blaming a notion of religion, for instance, they are forgetting these aspects of our life, that there is a certain percentage of our community who can take advantage of our gullibility, who can manipulate our needs and do damage to the society. Then they can destroy a civilization. Until and unless this group is identified, this group is shamed, this group is brought to light, no matter what else you do, you can blame all you wish, the notions, but this is not going to solve the problem. There will be a certain people who will promote slavery, who will promote terrorism, who will promote robbery, who will promote savagery and barbarism. Again, we have the needs, and these needs can be manipulated. We are gullible people. So this is what atheists are missing entirely. When they are pointing their fingers to religion, to a particular notion, they are altogether too naive to point out that this is not the only thing. A notion, an idea is idea. But again, we have the needs. Because of those needs, this idea will be acted on. This is what the atheists are missing completely. So I hope this helps. And thank you for listening. And I will catch up with you on the next one. Bye for now.